Hi, this video will introduce you to locating and running some simple searches in the Film and Television Literature Index with Full Text database. This is our San Jose State University Library homepage, and if you see this one search text box underneath that, it says Articles and Databases. If you were to click on that, it will open a new window which lists alphabetically all of the databases that we subscribe to. You could scroll through this whole database list, or for a quicker result, you could go to F because this one begins with film, right? And let's click on F, and this will list all of those databases, and you'll find Film and Television Literature Index with full text right there. When you click on that, it'll open a new window, which looks very similar to any other EBSCOhost databases. And because this is one of the many EBSCOhost databases, EBSCOhost is a platform hosting multiple databases that we have as a part of a package. And so you could add other databases to this search. And by doing that, by clicking on Choose Databases, it'll bring up all of those others. And for our purposes, we only really want to look at this one. So there's that. But let's imagine that you are in a course where maybe it's a film studies course or media studies course where you are given a film that is based on a movie, or you're studying a whole unit on movies that are based on novels or based on other works of fiction or nonfiction, and you need to write a paper about that. So the best search term for something like that, rather than putting movies based on books, would be film adaptations. So it's helpful to know the right terms for searching. And honestly, if you put in movies based on books, you get a whole new different version of search results, and maybe some of those would even work for you. But sometimes we need to play with terms to determine which ones are the most appropriate for what we want. So I put this in as plural, and I got 8,311 results. So let's say maybe I want to try film adaptation, singular. Try again. And we have the same number of results. Some ways to incorporate all of the possible results are to truncate by using an asterisk. So in this situation, I'd get everything that would say film adaptation and film adaptations, plural. But obviously, as you see, we're going to get the same number of results. So that's great. We need to reduce this, though. That's too many. So here are some limiters. Under this refine results on the left-hand side here, we could, for simplifying the whole research process, because I don't maybe have a lot of time to search, we're going to go with full text. Let's just look for the sources that this library has the full text, the full article, not just the abstract, not just a listing. We have the full text of the article. And then you see some of these are periodicals that might not be academic. There might be newsy or magazines. So we're going to also narrow this down to peer-reviewed. If you look at the publication date, we have sources dating back to 1950 here. That's great. We can also refine that to only find the last few years or whatever your instructor might desire. But most instructors on this campus, most of these courses will ask you to find peer-reviewed sources. That means that the article was submitted to the periodical and went before a peer review board. And those are people who are other experts in this field. And those people decided whether that article was accurate, factually, or it was relevant, or it contributed to this academic discussion in this field. And so maybe if it contributed something new or whatever, and we call those scholarly. But as you can see in these results, in this database, there are sometimes things that pop up that aren't academic journals. They may be movie reviews, and maybe it went before some type of a review board, but you can see under here, now that changed our publication date as well, right? And under source types, the academic journals, there are 952 of them, but there are also 114 reviews, which might be, I don't know, performance reviews, might be all kinds of things. That's not exactly what we want. We want academic journals passed before a peer review board. So now all of these should be completely appropriate for an academic research paper. So we still have 952. And maybe some of these have to do with film adaptations of plays or short stories or poetry. And we're not actually looking for that. Maybe we're looking for novels. Or maybe we'll just do novel. Let's see what happens. So if we're looking at film adaptations of novels, that comes down to 407 results. And as you can see, searching is a messy, fun, crazy, time-consuming process. And we'll play with multiple varieties of these terms and see what we get. If you have a certain time range or date range of when you want that published, that's one thing. If you want, there's a lot on Hitchcock or Frankenstein or horror type films. There are also some in this list from Stephen King. There are also some that are not in English. So maybe we could do that as well. We could narrow this down to just what's in English. So that's 400. And that would bring it down a little bit more. And maybe we say horror is another field. And there are only 8. And maybe that has actually cut out some of the ones about Frankenstein that they didn't see as horror. Maybe horror wasn't a code word or a keyword that is picked up. So maybe we want to run multiple searches in multiple different ways, or maybe we want to do science fiction and see what kinds of different results we get. And here, science fiction, now Frankenstein, now those Frankenstein sources just came back up. So, and we have 16 sources. So depending on what you're looking for, you can narrow this down. Now, also, if you're looking at a particular author, maybe you actually were asked to just write about Frankenstein, the book, in comparison to the novel. So maybe one of these should be Frankenstein, and maybe one of these should be novel. I don't even know. Science fiction. I don't even know if this is going to help. We play with all of these things and we see what we like. If we're just looking for science fiction, there are 2 just on Frankenstein. Let's get rid of those. Let's try just Frankenstein film adaptations. How many would we get? 4. So these are only peer-reviewed. They're from 1998 on. You know they're from academic journals, and you know that they're going to work in your paper. However, who knows if maybe those are everything you want to know. So in my next video, I'll show you how to change those terms and maybe try different things, and upon looking at these results, how to find more results. Obviously, to actually view the article, you would click on either PDF full text, or if it says HTML full text, but it'll bring up the article itself and you'll see it. If it says PDF, that's fantastic, because this looks exactly like it would look copied right out of the book. And some are long and some are very short. This one happens to be very short. And maybe it's nothing you need, and then you start all over again and you do it from scratch and you think of new terms and you combine them in different ways and you see what you get. And here's another one, and this one's actually very short also. So it depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what you want. and what your assignment is asking for. And then this one looks like a more in-depth study or critical analysis of the Frankenstein movie or story, or the comparison between the video version, the movie version, and the book. So this, I would say, would be, upon first glance, it looks much more like the type of article you would need for an academic paper, research paper. So in my next video, we'll talk about how to save them, how to find more like them, and know what else to do with them. So stay tuned.